Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture on carbohydrate chemistry. I'm going to cover a lot of topics which are very important for any competitive exams or for the board examinations. I'm going to cover the definition of carbohydrates, asymmetric carbon, Fischer projection, DL isomers, chirality and optical activity, epimers, cyclic structures, anomers, mutarotation, and finally reducing sugars. A lot of chemistry. I have tried to simplify all the concepts, and this is my channel. If you like the video, do subscribe. Let's get into the topic. When you see the definition of carbohydrate, in fact, carbo indicates carbon, hydra means water. The reason why it has got this name is initially people thought all carbohydrates are in combination with a water molecule, and they have got this kind of general formula. When you see glucose, what is glucose? C6H12O6. If you simplify it, 6 molecules of carbon has combined with 6 water molecules. So 6 2s are 12 and O6. This is what is glucose is. So they thought each carbon is in combination with a water molecule, hence they named it as carbohydrates. But this is not the true all the time. This is true for some of the monosaccharides, but not with disaccharides. This is the introduction. These two are the simple carbohydrates, glucose, fructose. Now, the way of writing this kind of structures is known as Fischer projections. So, this is how the Fischer projections are written. When you see a carbohydrate, it is defined chemically as a polyhydroxyaldehyde or polyhydroxy ketone. Look at them. Poly means multiple, more than 2. Multiple hydroxy groups are there. Look at them. All of these are hydroxy groups. And it has got functional groups. This one is aldehyde. This one is ketone. So all the carbohydrates, the definition is based on its chemistry. According to chemistry, they have multiple hydroxy groups with a functional group, either aldehyde or ketone. So they can be defined as a polyhydroxyaldehyde or polyhydroxy ketonic compounds. So these two are the general structures of glucose and fructose. Moving further, now see, this is the simplest carbohydrate. This is glyceraldehyde. This is how glyceraldehyde is written. Aldehyde functional group is there and alcoholic groups are there. Now in this glyceraldehyde, this carbon is known as asymmetric carbon. Look at this one. Asymmetry means a carbon to which 4 different groups are attached is known as asymmetric center. Look at this carbon. It has got an aldehyde group here, a hydrogen here, a hydroxyl group here, and a methoxy group here. So 4 different groups are attached, hence this carbon is known as asymmetric center or asymmetric carbon. Now the asymmetric center is important because for every n asymmetric centers there are 2 to the power of n stereoisomers are there. Let me explain it again. For every n number of asymmetric carbons, there are 2 to the power of n number of stereoisomers are present. Stereoisomers. Stereoisomers are isomers which differ in the spatial arrangement of the atoms. What do you mean by spatial arrangement of atoms? See, spatial arrangement means to this carbon, these groups are attached. How they are attached in the space differs in stereoisomers. We'll see it later, but let us understand about this one. So, in case of glyceraldehyde, you have 1 asymmetric center. So, n equal to 1. So, 2 to the power of n number of isomers means there are 2 isomers are there for glyceraldehyde. What are those? They are known as D-glyceraldehyde and L-glyceraldehyde. Now look at this. All of them are glyceraldehyde structures. They can be depicted in 3 different ways. One model is ball and stick model. Look at them. This is the central carbon, the asymmetric carbon. To this, an aldehyde, a hydrogen, a hydroxyl group, and a methoxy group is attached. 4 different groups are attached, hence it is known as asymmetric carbon. Now when you see this, 2 of the groups are coming out of the plane. You can see they are projected like this. They are coming out of the plane, and 2 of the groups are going back of the plane. So when you see a mirror image of this one, it appears like this. So depiction of this kind is known as ball and stick models. So in this ball and stick models, you can see 3-dimensional structures. Now Fischer has come up with an idea stating that The horizontal lines indicates the groups which are coming towards ourselves, coming out of the plane. So these two horizontal are these two groups which are coming out of the plane. And the vertical groups which goes back of the plane, they are going back side. So Fisher convention says that the horizontal lines are coming towards us or towards out of the plane, whereas the vertical groups represents the groups which are going back side of the plane. Now, so this one, when you put a mirror, you will get this kind of isomer. So as I told you, glyceraldehyde has got this one stereo center, so 2 to the power of n, that means 2 to the power of 1, that means 2 isomers are there. What are the 2 isomers? One is D-glyceraldehyde and then one is L-glyceraldehyde. So this is Fisher projection. One more projection is there, it is known as perspective formulas. In perspective formulas, groups coming towards us or out of the plane are depicted with this wedge shape. This one is known as wedge shape. Whereas broken arrows depicts the groups going behind the plane. These things going behind the plane, they are depicted with broken arrows, whereas wedge shape coming towards us. So all of them are allowed. You need to understand, depending upon the book, they will be using ball and stick, Fisher projection or perspective formulas. Let us get a little bit more of this isomerism. Now, we are talking about DL isomers. Now, let us understand this. DL isomers explains about configuration at asymmetric carbon. Understand this word. Configuration means how the atoms are arranged at asymmetric carbon. This is glyceraldehyde and this is asymmetric carbon. How the atoms are arranged, how this hydrogen is attached and how this OH is attached. In case of this molecule, the OH is present on the right side, hence it is known as D-glyceraldehyde. Whereas in this, the OH is present on the left side. So this is known as L-glyceraldehyde. In fact, these are mirror images. So based upon this hydroxy group, whether it is present on right or left, it is classified as D isomer or L isomer. So this is known as configuration at an asymmetric carbon. So glyceraldehyde is taken as a standard for D isomer and L isomer. Now this is fine. When you have only one asymmetric center, you can talk about this. What if you have multiple asymmetric centers? For example, galactose, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 asymmetric centers are there. In such cases, the asymmetric carbon which is farther away from this carbonyl carbon or C1 carbon configuration is taken. Look at this. This is very far away from the carbonyl carbon. And how the configuration of OH is there is taken. If it is on the right, look at this. On glyceraldehyde, what do you have? On the right side, you have OH. Similarly, if you have right side on OH, it is considered as D. If it is on the left side, it is considered as L. So this is about DL isomers. Remember, this is depicted as capital D and capital L. What do they talk? They talk about configuration at asymmetric carbon. So this is about DL isomerism. Moving to the next concept, it is known as chirality. Chira means hand. In fact, in English, there is a word called as chir-ablutomaniac. Chir-ablutomaniac. Understand this word. Certain people has got the habit of washing hands repeatedly. And nowadays, due to corona, we are doing it again and again. So, chir means hand. Ablution means wash. Mania means doing it repeatedly. Some of the women has got this problem. The point here is chir means hand. Now, let us see what do you mean by this. Now, see, the term chiral is used to describe an object which is non-superimposable on its mirror image. Look at this. These are our left hand and right hand. Both of them are very similar. We have 5 fingers, a thumb and remaining fingers, but there are mirror images. This is what is meant by non-superimposability. If you put one hand on another, see, the thumb is coming here, this thumb is coming here. They do not exactly coincide with the thumbs. This property is called as non-superimposability. So chirality means non-superimposable mirror images. So this is an important property. Why? The molecule which is chiral, it will exhibit a property called as optical activity. I will explain it again, but understand this one. If a molecule is chiral, it will exhibit optical activity. Now let us see what do you mean by optical activities. Optical activity is the ability of chiral molecule to rotate the plane of plane polarized light. It is measured by a polarimeter. Now let us understand. This is a light source. From the light source, the light will be coming which is in multipolar. The light will be moving in multiple directions. When it is passed through a polarizer, the light will be passing only in one direction. This is called as plane polarized light. So this is what is meant by plane polarized light. Now, this plane polarized light is sent through a sample. So this is a container which contains our sample. When it is sent through the sample, the direction of this plane polarized light is changed. In some molecules, the direction moves to right side. In some molecules, the direction moves to left side. When you observe from here, you can see the direction is moved. Now this is, see, dextrorotatory means if a molecule rotates the plane polarized light to the right, they are called as dextrorotatory. Means if something is moving in this direction, it is called as dextro. If a molecule is moving that light to the left side, it is considered as levorotatory. So this is what is meant by dextro and levo. See, before we have seen D, L and L. Now this is dextro and levo. In fact, let me remind you, we all know about dextrose. When someone gets very weak, in hospitals, 5% dextrose is given. What is this dextrose? It is nothing but glucose, which is of dextrorotatory. That means that is rotating the light towards right side. So this is the concept of optical activity. Let me repeat this again. Some molecules have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized light. It is in this plane, but it is rotated towards right or it is rotated towards left. If a molecule is rotating towards right, it is known as dextro. If a molecule is rotating the plane to left side, it is known as levo. Remember dextrose. Now you need to understand one more thing. DL is different with dextro and levo. Excuse me. Let me explain this here. See, naming this enantiomers. See, enantiomers are nothing but mirror images. Okay. If you talk about configuration, it is DL isomers. What is configuration? The spatial arrangement of atoms. Spatial arrangement of atoms around an asymmetric carbon is known as configuration. Optical activity is a physical property. If the plane polarized light is rotated to right, it is known as dextrorotatory, indicated by small d or positive sign. If it is rotated to left side, it is known as levorotatory, indicated by L or with negative sign. So you need to understand these things. Both of them are different. Capital D, capital L is different with small d and small l. Moving further. Now, there is another concept known as epimer. Now, epimers are sugars that differ in configuration at only one position. Look at this. This is glucose. See, glucose is an aldohexose. Aldohexose. Aldo means it has got aldehyde functional group. Hexose means it has got 6 carbons. But understand how the atoms are attached. See, at first, this is the first carbon, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth. Now, see, this is mannose. This one is glucose. This one is mannose. Look at the structures. In every carbon, the configuration is similar except at this second carbon. See, at second carbon, OH is on right in glucose, whereas OH is on left in mannose. Remaining everything is same. What is this? There is a difference in configuration at only one position. So they are known as epimers. So mannose is an epimer at C2 with glucose. Similarly, look at this. You have one more molecule called galactose. Configuration at every carbon is same except at C4. Look at this. At C4 in glucose, at the 4-hydrox is on right side, whereas here it is on left side in galactose. See, the change of configuration at one particular atom changes the molecule. Glucose and galactose is epimer at C4. So remember, understand this. If there is a difference in configuration at only one position, they are called as epimers. So this is the concept of epimer. Moving further, there is another concept known as anomers. Before understanding anomer, let us understand an organic chemistry reaction. Now, aldehydes and alcohols can react with each other and forms hemiacetals. Look at the molecules. See, the C double bond O, one of this hydrogen goes there and OR attaches here. This is OR. This is known as hemiacetal. Now, again, this hemiacetal can react with another alcohol and forms acetal. Look what is happening. One more OR group comes and attaches here. So successively hydroxy groups are removed and you get hemiacetal and acetal. Similar things can happen with ketone, and it gives hemiketal and ketal. Okay, the moral is an aldehyde or ketone can react with alcohol to give hemiacetals, hemiketals, or acetal and ketals. So this is what is the concept. Now, what it has to do with carbohydrates? In carbohydrates, they are polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketone. That means you have a hydroxy group and you have an aldehyde or ketone group. So intramolecular hemiacetal group formation may occur. Intra means within the molecule. Inter means between two molecules. Look at this. So this is glucose. As I said, you have an aldehyde group is there and an alcohol group is there. So there could be a bond formation between these two things. Understand this one. You have multiple hydroxy groups is there, but bond formation is preferred here because it results in the formation of a six-membered ring. If you delve deeply into organic chemistry, there is something called as Bayer strain theory. According to this theory, a cycle with 5 or 6 atoms is most stable, and the molecules will prefer to form this kind of cycles. This is known as Bayer strain theory. Hence, the bond formation occurs from C1 carbon to C1 carbon containing oxygen to C5 carbon containing this one. So it results in a ring formation. Usually what happens is, even though we are writing this straight chain molecule, usually the molecule exists in cyclic form. And how the cycle occurs? See, at this, see the aldehyde group is this one. Now the carbonyl group ability is oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. So what happens? These pi electrons are pulled towards oxygen and carbon gets a partial positive charge. And this hydroxy group, which is this one at C51, the oxygen non-bonding electrons will be donated here because this is partially positive one, and that results in a bond formation and a ring formation. But while doing so, there may be formation of two kinds of isomers. In one, hydroxy group is on the bottom side, in another, hydroxy group on the top side. Now this is known as alpha D glucopyranose, whereas the other one is known as beta D glucopyranose. Now you need to understand about these words. Gluco is glucose, pyranose is this ring. Because it is similar to pyranose ring, pyran ring, it is known as pyranose. Alpha indicates the OH is on the bottom side, beta indicates OH is on the top side. These are known as anomers. Now when you see what is anomers, say anomers and anomeric carbons, isomeric forms of monosaccharides that differ only in their configuration about the hemiacetal or hemiketal carbon atom are called anomers. Now slowly read it, you will understand this one. Look at this. This is glucose 1. Where do you have hemiacetal carbon? This is hemiacetal carbon. Now between these two compounds, the only difference occurs at this carbon configuration. You know, we have seen epimers which differ only at one carbon. So these are also kind of epimers which differ only at one carbon configuration, and that is anomeric carbon. Hence this carbon is known as anomeric carbon. These are known as anomers. Understand it slowly. There is a difference in configuration at anomeric carbon, and they are known as anomers. That is what is meant by anomers. Now again, see, we have seen the straight chain is depicted by Fischer projection, whereas cyclic form is depicted by Haworth perspective representation. Moving further, so this is what is a pyran ring is. So glucose can form alpha glucopyranose or beta glucopyranose, whereas fructose will take this furan form and you get fructofuranose and alpha fructofuranose and beta D-fructofuranose. See, in case of fructose, the ketone is on the second carbon, hence it forms a 5-membered ring, whereas in glucose it forms a 6-membered ring. So these are known as anomers. Now the next thing is mutarotation. There is something called as mutarotation. What do you mean by this mutarotation? Mutarotation is the change in specific rotation of an anomer as it is converted into equilibrium mixture of alpha and beta forms. Let me make it simple thing. See, let's say you have taken a pure alpha D glucopyranose. You dissolved it in the water. At the beginning, it will show specific rotation as +112. But after some time, when you check the specific rotation, it comes around plus 52.7. So this change in specific rotation is known as muta rotation. Rotation, optical rotation, muta means change. It is changed and it is known as muta rotation. Similarly, you take a pure sample of beta D glucopyranose, you dissolve it in water, you see the specific rotation, it will be 18.7. After some time, it again changes to 52.7. This change is nothing but muta rotation. Now think, why is this happening? What is happening? What happens is, when the pure samples are dissolved, after some time you get a mixture of alpha and beta, and that will be in around 36 to 64%. That means 36% of the solution contain alpha ionomer, 64% of the solution contain beta ionomer. And the optical rotation comes and sits at the middle, that is around 52 degrees. And this change in optical rotation is known as muta rotation. This is an important one. Understand it. Moving further, the last thing, reducing sugars. See, a reducing sugar is any sugar that is capable of acting as reducing agent. Why it is acting as such? Because it has got free aldehyde group or free ketone group. Understand this. See, the molecules can either exist in cyclic form or in straight chain form. So it is in an equilibrium. So glucose can form this straight chain form and you have a free aldehyde group. Now what happens is, it will reduce certain reagents like Fehling, Benedict and Tollens. All of them will get reduced and the sugar is oxidized. Look at this, what is happening? See, Cu2 plus is converting into Cu plus 1. Understand this one. 2 plus means it has lost 2 electrons. 2 deficient electrons are there and it is converting to 1 deficient electron. That means it is getting 1 electron. Acquiring electron is nothing but reduction. And why this reduction has occurred? Because of the sugar. This glucose sugar here is reducing copper, hence this sugar is known as reducing sugar. Let me repeat this again, this is an important one. See, Cu2 plus is converting to Cu plus 1. How it is getting converted? By taking up an electron. From where it is getting that electron? From this glucose. That means glucose is reducing Fehling reagent. In turn, glucose is getting oxidized. Because it is reducing, it is called as reducing sugar. Now, see, monosaccharides which has got hemiacetals are called reducing sugars. See, mannose, you have a hemiacetal. It will open its chain. When it opens its chain, the free aldehyde will be there. Similarly, galactose opens its chain, free aldehyde is there. Fructose opens its chain, free ketone is there. So whenever you see this free carbonyls group, it can act as a reducing agent. If there is no chance of getting that free group, then it cannot be a reducing agent. Example is sucrose. Sucrose is non-reducing sugar. Look at this. What has happened? Glucose, fructose formed this glycosidic bond. How it has formed? In glucose, the aldehydic carbon, in fructose, the ketonic carbon forms this bond. That means there is no free availability of aldehyde or ketone. If it is not there, it cannot reduce and it becomes a non-reducing sugar. So this is about reducing and non-reducing sugar. So hope you enjoyed this class of carbohydrate chemistry. Thank you for watching this video.